Oh, hello, it is I, your boy Gomi, and we are going to be recapping what happened at UFC 288. So, overall, first thoughts on the card. I thought it was a very poor card. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think honestly it was the weakest pay-per-view of the year so far. 283 was pretty damn good. 284 was good. 285 was good. 286 was pretty decent. 287 was really good. I thought this did not live up to the hype at all. My thought is definitely the weakest. You can tell this too is the weakest by the lack of big names on there, and it really showed honestly. But I'm just surprised at how the main card went. I thought that was not that good a main card. But regardless, let's get into it, and let's get into the first fight, which is going to be Joseph Holmes versus Claudio Ribeiro. It was a pretty decent fight, actually. Joseph Holmes landed some good shots, but Claudio Ribeiro ended up taking him down and getting the shots he needed to get the finish. I thought that was a very entertaining knockout overall. I liked that fight. I thought it was pretty decent. Next, we went on to Phil Hawes versus Ikram Aliskerov. Phil Hawes was landing some decent shots in Ikram, but I was getting a little bit worried for Ikram, to be perfectly honest with you, but then Ikram landed a really sloppy jumping high kick, but Phil Hawes moved into it, and his knee actually landed flush on Hawes, and he stopped. I feel like a lot of people are crediting the sequence to the jab and stuff like that, and that's what finished him. No, if you go back and watch it, when he hit Hawes, something was wrong. Like, Hawes stopped, and I got flashbacks to Shane Burgos versus Edson Barboza, where he stopped for a bit, and I felt like he didn't know where he was. Like, his eyes went blank. The fight proceeded a little bit more. Good knee to the body from Ikram, and then it was just a solid jab to the jaw that just made him fold. But I'm telling you, go back and rewatch that. Something was wrong once he hit him with that missed kick. Braxton Smith versus Parker Porter. I did not think Parker Porter was going to get that W, but it shows the experience. Braxton Smith was way too inexperienced with that, and he was throwing. He was built like a brick freaking wall, and he was throwing shots, but he was missing. He had only a 48% significant strike accuracy. He was missing left and right, while Porker landed cleaner shots, got him with a knee, got him down to the ground with a very, very sloppy entry by Braxton, and then he just finished him, just wailed on him, shot after shot after shot. I don't even know what the hell Braxton was thinking with that, but it goes to show just Parker had more experience. But oh man, I hope you bet that to end in round one like I did, because that's one of the only things I did well in terms of betting. Mariano Rodriguez versus Viriana Jandrodriba. I suck at pronouncing her name, even though I heard it so many times. It was a very uneventful fight. It was not like really just Viviana just dominated when it came to the ground game. She was the underdog too, which is surprising, but she just had better ground game, kept her on the ground more, threw some shots, but that's the thing. She didn't really go for submissions. She had plenty of opportunities and plenty of spots where she probably could have threw up some submissions or attempted some, but she really didn't. And it ended up being a very uneventful fight. Nah. Chaos Williams versus Ronaldo Bendoya. That's not a good showing for Chaos Williams. Honestly, a lot of people saw it as a very controversial decision. I can see that. I had Chaos Williams going into the fight, and I felt like he probably could. I think he could have won the fight, especially since But the thing is, he didn't look that good, especially for how small Ronaldo is. His UFC debut, that's just not a good look on Chaos Williams' part. Ronaldo was very accurate with his percentage, 71% for total and significant strikes. But at the end of the day, Chaos Williams just landed more. He's simple as that. I landed harder shots. Simple as that. He did get outstruck in both fights. Honestly, I could see how Chaos Williams lost in people's eyes, but bad showing from him. He has not looked good ever since the Michel Pereira loss. He had one not good knockout after that, but the Michel Pereira loss, I feel, kind of defeated him, and then Randy Brown really put him in a ditch. But hopefully get some confidence back winning that fight. Regardless, next fight, Kennedy, not even gonna try it, versus Devin Clark. That was a good back and forth. Devin Clark, I felt, was definitely winning that first round until Kenny got him in the clinch and just launched those elbows. Elbows after elbows after elbows after elbows. He was so tall and he had the height advantage over Devin Clark, so it made it much easier for him to land those. And that was the telltale of the fight. He had an 80% significant total strike accuracy, which is very good. And finally, in the second round, more just brutal shots in the clinch. Kennedy got his submission win. That's one of his only submission wins, if I remember correctly. I definitely did not have that by submission. That's his first submission win. His first and only submission win in the UFC. Man, I had him by knockout, so that was kind of... But that was still a really good showing from him. Out, man, those elbows are powerful, and he got that W. I called it. I called it. I told you. I told you. I told you all. Matt Frevola was the first person to crack the legendary chin of Drew Dober. It was just like Matt Frevola looked good. Dober was landing some solid body kicks and some shots to body, but Frevola was patient, fighting on the outside and throwing that jab and throwing that lead hook. Eventually, he caught him, dropped Dober. Dober was taking some shots too. He's already bloodied and battered as the fight was going on. Probably broke his nose early on. I was shocked with Matt Frevola. I low-key thought Drew Dober would win, but ultimately I said under 1.5, and I even had that in my betting video. But man, that was a good showing for Frevola, and that was a good battle. That was a good war, even though how short it was. But that's just ultimately, like I was saying, like, because spoiler alert, the next fight sucked. It really did. And man, I really feel we should just put Dober versus... We should have just put Dober versus Frevola on the main card. It was 4 minutes of just pure fun. Pure fun. Next fight was going to be Kron Gracie versus Charles Jourdain. This fight was... Charles Jourdain showed some really good boxing. I really liked his accuracy. Landing... Oh my god, what the heck? I did not know Kron Gracie even threw that much shots. And he had that much accuracy? 79% total strikes? What the hell? What? I feel like that's wrong. I feel like that's a wrong reading. But yeah, Charles Jourdain, he landed 65% of 266 shots. He landed some good shots, threw some really good shots to the body. I was very impressed with his boxing. I was impressed by his grappling defense. And Kron Gracie, that was one of the worst performances I've seen, man. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I thought that performance was super poor. Like, it's just a telltale sign of he started with that old school old school style of UFC fighters back in the day, where it was jiu-jitsu. They get you in a clinch and then they let you take you down. But like, that style just doesn't work anymore when you have somebody who knows what they're doing defensively. Like, if they know that's your game, they're gonna just implore that to defeat you, and they're gonna beat you with that. And I feel that's exactly what Charles Jourdain did. He was smart on the ground. I felt though he could have postured up a few times, landed some shots, some blows, whatever. I felt like he could have really went for that finish, but you could tell he like fought more safely there, which is fine, I guess. He didn't want to get submitted. He's on a little bit of a loss streak, but honestly, good showing for Charles Jourdain, but horrible showing for Kron Gracie. He just looks like he didn't want to be there. Simple as that. He really looks like he didn't want to be there. And like he was like this whole week entirely, like he was being a jerk. He really didn't seem like he wanted to be there. He was just there for the payday, and ultimately that's how he fought. I honestly don't want to see him in that like fight. Like, I don't want to see him again. But if he is going to be fighting, put him against like a Ryan Hall or Claudio Perez, like someone who fights similar to him. We can just see a grappling match, or maybe even just a striking match. But I was impressed with his chin, but that's about it. Yep, that's really the end of the fight. Charles Jourdain won by unanimous decision. I unfortunately had it by TKO, and I felt like he really could have went for that TKO, honestly. But his boxing looked really good. Interesting to see where he goes to next. I hope we get to see that more of a finishing mindset from Jourdain. Movsar Evloev versus Diego Lopez. Actually, one fight of the night. I didn't think it was all that, and I actually think Movsar won, and it was really good showing by him. He had a lot of heart, but it's kind of like a Muhammad Mokaev, where he was going up against a newbie, a fresh guy who should have dominated. And yeah, he showed heart, but Lopez showed a lot of problems from Evloev. There was a lot of problems, and he was like, the first one, Lopez really won, but then Evloev really poured it on him, landing 80% of 228 strikes, lots of takedowns, lots of ground control. but those submission attempts were nasty. 4 submission attempts, and they were some nasty submissions. So it doesn't look good in Evlev to do this against a guy who's his UFC debut. This is his first fight in UFC, taking it on short notice as well too, 5 days notice, and you're ranked 10, and you struggled that much against the guy. So it was an okay fight. I didn't think it was worthy really a fight of the night, to be perfectly honest with you, but at the end of the day, Evlev got the W, and that's one of the few things that I actually hit on the main card. Honestly, in terms of betting, I knew he would get that decision. He's not a finisher. He doesn't have the finishing mindset. I feel like he'll go higher in the top 10, but I don't think he's going to be championship caliber. Like, he was calling out Volkanovski, saying he's the only guy to be able to beat him. I don't see that happening. I definitely don't see that happening. But I, again, am very impressed with his toughness to be able to survive those submission attempts. Like, when he had that knee bar and he just shook his head, no, I'm not tapping. That was impressive, but you shouldn't have been in that situation regardless. Next fight, probably the most surprising fight on the card. Yan Xiaonan knocks out Jessica Andrade. So Yan Xiaonan, like, it's not surprising that Yan Xiaonan won. I do feel like the odds were pretty close, and Yan Xiaonan has looked really good. She's been a scrapper, but she was very accurate. She was catching Andrade. Andrade really struggled with the height and reach advantage that she had, and she just kept catching her. Simple as that, and finally caught her with what I believe, if I remember correctly, it was just a simple left hook on an exit from Andrade, and just dropped her. And the just surprising reason is Yan Xiaonan does not get a lot of finishes. She has not gotten a lot of finishes. She's more of a decision fighter, but she finally got that finish. And I know she was on cloud 9 with that win. And that's an impressive win, and that's probably going to get a tire shot. The strawweight division is not that good. I'm sorry. Strawweight division is not that good. There's not a lot of contenders. Also, by the way, that is her first finish since 2016. Wow. But yeah, she finished Jessica Andrade, who's one of the toughest female fighters especially in the strawweight division. But I feel Jessica Andrade, much like Gilbert Burns, I guess they just took this fight too soon. Simple as that. Spoiler for Gilbert Burns fight. But I guess they just, like, yeah, being a BMF and taking these fights taking a lot of these fights, I guess it just finally caught up with them. Simple as that. Her chin just shattered, and that was all she wrote. Yan Xiaonan is probably going to get the next title shot against Zhang Weili. So it's going to be Chinese versus Chinese. They better set up a UFC China card or something like that, honestly. Next fight in the card, our BMF lost his title to the new BMF. You got to give it to Belal Muhammad. Belal Muhammad looked great in that fight. He looked really great. The story of the fight was his kicks. His kicks were so good. He was drawing shot after shot after shot, and Burns just couldn't eat it. Burns did not look himself. I don't want to discredit Belal Muhammad, but I will say Burns did not look himself that fight. That was not the same Burns that showed up against Hamza Chimaev, the same Burns that showed up against Neil Magny. Hell, even the same Burns that showed up against Jorge Masvidal. He didn't look the same, but I don't feel it was from pre-injury. I think what it was is one of those first takedowns that Burns landed. Actually, he wasn't even credited for. Wow. But he landed a takedown, and he fell on Belal Muhammad's knee right on his shoulder, and ever since then he didn't throw his left hand, which is crucial to Burns because his left hook is one of his best weapons, and it's his main point of exit because he doesn't have a good jab, and he normally struggles with a reach advantage. So he modifies it with a leaping left hook, and following up with the right hand. He just couldn't throw it. He was just all right hands. The few times he tried to throw, he just couldn't land. Simple as that. But he did have the better accuracy than Belal Muhammad, 55% to 46%. But Belal Muhammad landed more shots. He landed the more impactful shots too. Simple as that. Those kicks were nasty. They were nasty to the body, to the forearms. He was hitting him hard. A lot of people thought Belal Muhammad might have been compromised going to this fight, but he was not. And Belal Muhammad managed to get that W and beat out Gilbert Burns. And he's getting that title shot next. And even though it was not a very exciting fight, I'll be honest with you, compared to Belal Muhammad's last fight, it was not super exciting. He still should get the title shot over Colby. That's 9 fights. That's the 9-fight winning streak. And he beat the number 5 guy. He's beaten so many he beat the most top 10 guys in the division. Why is Colby Covington getting a title shot when he doesn't have a single win over anyone in the top 15? Belal Muhammad, how many wins does he have in top 15 fighters? I have to look this up, but it's got to be a pretty good number. Burns, Brady, Luque, Thompson. That's 4. That's 4. Like, what are we doing, guys? What are we doing? Oh well, regardless. Belal Muhammad, he's gonna get Belal Muhammad. He's gonna be getting that title shot next against probably Leon Edwards. I feel Leon Edwards is gonna beat Colby Covington bad, to be honest with you. So I hope we get that rematch. Next fight is going to be the main event, where unfortunately, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not a fan of Sterling, and that was not a great showing by him. But yes, Aljamain Sterling has beaten Henry Cejudo. He's proven he is not the same level as Jones and GSP. Again, I believe in ring rust, and I felt that. I really felt that the ring rust was going to be the main thing. I wanted Henry Cejudo to win, but Aljamain Sterling proved that he is one of the best bantamweights in the world. But again, my problem with that fight is we didn't see a lot. Like, even though it went 25 minutes, we didn't see a lot. We saw that Cejudo still has excellent takedown defense, but we saw that Aljamain Sterling was able to eventually take him down via volume. Like that he has a 26% takedown percentage. That's pretty bad. Like, yeah, he got 4 takedowns, and that's also the thing, he really didn't do anything with takedowns. He won the fight standing. Simple as that. The main story of that fight for Aljamain Sterling was like the Belal Muhammad story, which is kicks. He landed a lot of solid kicks on Henry Cejudo. And Henry Cejudo didn't have the same kicky game he used to, and he started feeling flat-footed. I felt he started gassing towards the end. I really feel like in the 3rd and 4th rounds, he kind of put a little bit more on the 5th round, but in the 3rd and 4th rounds, Henry Cejudo didn't have the same speed, same power, and stuff like that. And he was throwing a lot of wingy hooks and really struggled with the range and size of Aljamain Sterling. But again, Sterling didn't fight a whole lot, to be honest with you. And that's my problem with like Merab and Sterling, because I feel like it's just they throw volume takedowns, throw some shots here and there, and that's the story. Like, he didn't really do much. He threw one really nice spinning bat fist I liked from Sterling, but other than that, it was nothing crazy. It was a very uneventful fight. It shouldn't really have been a main event, to be honest with you. In hindsight, looking on paper, it deserved to be an event, but in hindsight, a lot of people are gonna have been arguing that people thought Henry Cejudo won. I don't think he did. I think that was definitely Aljamain Sterling winning. I do agree, possibly a split. No, I agree that should have been a split decision. I could see how Cejudo won in some people's scorecards. I scored it for Aljo. I didn't really want him to win. But regardless, we have Sean O'Malley waiting in the rings. I don't think Sean O'Malley is going to be able to beat Aljamain Sterling, but it's much like the Cejudo Sterling, where I want Sean O'Malley to win. I just feel like he'd be a more exciting champion, because Aljamain Sterling, he's boring on the mic, talks all his crap, feels he's better than he is. Well, he feels he's better than he is. He is a champion, he's deservedly so, but he acts like he's like a John Jones or Habib or super supremely dominant champion or like an Izzy, but he's not. He's not. And I would like to see O'Malley beat him, but I don't know how it's going to go. I think it livened up the division a little bit more. I like that face-off. I like that he got. I thought that was exciting. But my favorite part of that whole thing is this little gremlin Merab. I don't like Merab, but this is funny. O'Malley took off his jacket, and when he took off his jacket, he thought he was giving it to his jacket guy, he said. He gave it to Merab, and Merab's little gremlin ass put that on. You see Merab right here in this picture. That's O'Malley's jacket he's wearing. He wore it. He started parading around. I wonder if he even gave it back to him. I don't know if he gave it back to him. That was the funniest part of the whole night. That made the card. That was the best part of the card. But yeah, overall, at the end of the day, I thought for the first time in me doing the is it trash, like I do that just kind of like because like the whole Gomi garbage can like theme. This is the first time I truly feel when I ask, is it trash? I thought it was trash. I thought that was a poor card. The prelims and early prelims were good. They were fun, knockouts, submissions. They had 2 poor decisions that were not very eventful, but they had 4 or 5 really good knockouts and really good submissions. then the main card was poop. It was poop. I'm gonna be honest with you. So yeah, I thought the card was trash. 289. It's not looking better, man. It's not looking better. Oh no. We're waiting for 290. But this has been your boy Gomi. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Bye-bye.